This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. It occurred to me a few days ago when Governor Chet Culver had gone to Afghanistan to meet with the Iowa National Guard that in 2010 we've gotten to the point where foreign policy is actually conducted by states such as Iowa as well as by the federal government. Now, the federal government is really constitutionally empowered to conduct foreign policy and military policy. But since we don't have a draft, since we are involved in conflicts all over the world, we have had to essentially use the state military, which is the National Guard and the reserves, to fight our wars. And that means that the states and the governors of the states have become sort of little generals in these wars because it's a lot of state troops that are in that conflict. So in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other places now, governors are very active in visiting the troops and talking to them, coming back and explaining to the public what U.S. policy is. Iowa also has a pretty vigorous foreign policy of its own, for example, on trade. We send trade delegations to other countries, either agricultural trade or business manufacturing companies and others, to try and basically sell Iowa products, establish joint ventures in other countries. And the U.S. Department of Commerce does that, and it helps the states, but very often the states are really the leader in it and are very aggressive and spend a lot of money and essentially conduct foreign policy in the area of trade. The third way that Iowa and other states are involved in international affairs is in a world such as ours where there's so much conflict, so many refugees. Iowa has been a real leader in the United States in opening up its borders to refugees. I remember many years ago when the Vietnam War was over and there were many Vietnamese. They were escaping the country and they were in camps, in refugee camps in other places, in Hong Kong and other places. Iowa Governor Robert Ray initiated a very large program to bring Vietnamese refugees to Iowa to provide them with opportunities to start a new life, and it was considered an enormous success. More recently, Iowa has become a place for many Sudanese refugees from the terrible civil war in the Sudan, and I've had numerous Sudanese students in my college classes, and many of them have been wonderfully motivated and great American citizens. Once they get their citizenship, they are more proud than most people that I know to have come here and found freedom, economic opportunity, and they are lawyers and they are teachers, and some of them are business people now. So I wanted to just kind of reflect for a second on the fact that even though we don't think of states as having foreign policies, if you drill down a little deeper, you will find that Iowa has a pretty vigorous and extensive foreign policy of its own that kind of parallels the foreign policy of the federal government. This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com.